What's up, guys? We are continuing that journey to capture that perfect smoke. Practically every cigar issue that you might encounter is going to be related to having too high of humidity. So if you have constant issues, let's say relighting your cigars, or they're always having these crazy burn lines, and if it's really bad, you can't even make it to finish the cigar because the taste just gets very bitter, then dry boxing your cigar could be the solution for all of these problems. With that said, welcome to the channel. My name is AJ, and in this video I'm going to tell you exactly how to dry box your cigars to hopefully get them smoking much better for you. And just to give you a brief overview of what to expect in this video, first I'm going to talk about what is dry boxing exactly. I'm going to break that down, and then the second section I'm going to go over how to dry box. Pretty straightforward there. You can skip straight to that part. It'll be in the chapters, but I highly advise that you watch the last section at least, which is the dry boxing tips. I'm going to go over some more specific and very detailed things and facts that you definitely want to know when you're dry boxing your cigars, so you don't want to skip that section. With that said, let's get this going. So what is dry boxing? Dry boxing a cigar is a little known trick that cigar aficionados use to bring down the humidity in the cigars. And you'll be able to bring down that humidity very quickly. Why would you want to bring humidity down? Well, as I mentioned in the beginning, most of the cigar issues you're going to encounter is from having humidity that's too high. And that's where the benefits of dry boxing come in. So as you dry box the cigar, even just a little bit, it'll help it burn better, burn straighter, and even stay lit, which means you have less interruptions or having to focus on your cigar at all. You'll be able to just smoke it and do whatever else you want to do, whether that's read a book, scroll on TikTok, or watch TV, or whatever it is you want to do. At least you won't have to focus your attention on that cigar, constantly touching it up, constantly relighting it. Another benefit of dry boxing your cigars is getting rid of that bitter taste. If you've experienced that bitterness that you get from cigars, you know what I'm talking about. It's just an easy way to just ruin the cigar experience, and you won't be able to finish your cigar. Dry boxing and lowering the humidity in my entire humidor completely got rid of this issue for me that was causing me so much frustration. So I highly recommend it, if not anything, just for that alone, to be able to smoke your cigars and finish them and enjoy them properly. Another great benefit is having the cigar leaves just a little bit dry improves the draw on it too. So a lot of times when you have too high humidity in cigars, you'll go to take a draw or you're smoking it and you'll notice that it's plugged or too tight. This is very commonly because of having the humidity too high and the tobacco in the cigar is expanding, which creates a tighter and a more restricted draw. Well, with dry boxing, you'll notice that even the draw gets improved, and you'll be able to test this for yourself. So now let's get into it. How do you dry box a cigar? Something that even the term kind of sounds mysterious. There doesn't seem to be a lot of information on it. I'm going to demystify this for you. It is a lot more simple than you think. Okay, so the first thing you want to do to dry box your cigar is choose whatever cigar you're going to smoke, take it out of the cellophane and cut it. And removing the cellophane is going to be absolutely essential. You don't want to try to dry box a cigar while keeping the cellophane on. It's just not going to make any change in a quick enough time. So when you remove the cellophane, the cigar will acclimate to that lower humidity in your box much quicker. It's exactly what we want to bring that humidity down. And cutting the cap is also important. This way, when you have the cigar open on both ends, that humidity drops in the entire cigar nice and evenly. Oh, and side note, go ahead and give the draw a test right now before we dry box it. I want you to see if there's going to be any difference after you dry box it. Now, step 2, take the cigar and put it in an empty cigar box. There's one caveat to this, and that is that the dry box has to be lower humidity than your humidor. As long as that humidity is lower than your humidor, you're going to be good to go. If it's higher, then I don't think this is going to work out for you. You're going to have to find another way to lower the humidity in your cigars. But technically, you don't even need a dry box. If the humidity in your house is lower than your humidor, you could even just leave them out on the counter or on your dresser or whatever. That will also work as dry boxing. So technically, it doesn't even have to be in an empty cigar box. If you have a hygrometer, then you probably already have an idea of the humidity in your house or in an empty cigar box and in your humidor. For me, my dry box is typically around 58 relative humidity, which works out perfectly because my humidor is usually around 62 to 65. And now to step 3, you simply let it sit in there for at least 1 hour. And that's it. Just that 1 hour alone can improve your cigar experience greatly. And I guarantee you're going to notice a difference. But there are a few more things that can help, so let's go over some dry boxing tips. So first up, when should you dry box a cigar? So pretty much as I've mentioned already in this video, those main issues, relighting, bad burn lines, bitter tasting cigars, you definitely need to be dry boxing a cigar with those issues. Even if your cigar is already smoking good, they can still benefit from a dry box sometimes. Let's say it's a humid day and you're going to smoke outside, then you definitely want to give it a little bit of dry boxing to try to combat some of that humidity. I experience this myself a lot. Most of the time I'm able to just smoke my cigars right out of the humidor, but a lot of times I'm like, man, I wish I would have dry boxed this even for an hour. It would have made a huge difference. Basically, anytime your cigars are too high humidity, you're going to want to dry box them. One of the ways you would know if a cigar is too humid is to do a squeeze test. So you take the cigar, squeeze it, and listen. If you hear some crunching in there, then you're probably good. You don't need to dry box that. It's already dry. But if you're not hearing anything, then it's probably too humid. You can also feel the firmness of the cigar. When you squeeze it, does it spring back into shape? Then it's probably good. However, if you squeeze the cigar and it doesn't have that bounce to it, then it's probably too humid. So how long should you dry box for? I would say 1 hour is the bare minimum for a cigar that's already smoking good for you, or if you want to just test this out. But anything between 1 to 3 hours for cigars that already mostly smoke good for you. Now you can also play with this. It'll take some trial and error to figure out what works best for you in the current condition of the cigars in your humidor. You can definitely dry box a lot longer if you know your cigars need it. If a couple hour dry box isn't really changing the cigar experience for you, go ahead and try it for at least 24 hours and then give it a try. And from there, you can keep testing this out more and more, but I would not go past 3 days. Now, depending on the humidity inside that dry box, going more than 3 days is not a great idea. And believe me, I've experienced this myself and I learned the hard way. So I tested out dry boxing from 1 day all the way up to 5 days. And what happens after that 3-day mark is that's when you really start getting those harsh flavors, that throat irritation, and just an unpleasant smoke. What I did notice though was it would only be in the first third of the cigar that all that unpleasant smoke would be in, but everything else got improved, which was a huge relief because I was having a lot of bitterness from my cigars in that second third and final third. So at least the good part was this helped me fine tune how much I should be dry boxing my cigars. And since doing this, I haven't had a bad smoking experience again, and I hope that it does the same for you. Another thing to note is if your cigars need more than 48 hours, they're probably too humid to begin with to even try dry boxing. You don't want to jump from 70 to 60 in 2 days. That's not how you do it. What these cigars need is more rest in your humidor at the proper levels and let them come down much slower over time so you don't dry them out too quickly. You don't want to have extreme changes in humidity with cigars. That can really mess them up. But dry boxing a cigar that only needs to go down a couple percentages of relative humidity is great. Hopefully this helps you capture that perfect smoke that we're all always after. I do hope this elevates your next cigar experience. Do not forget, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have any questions or concerns, please leave a comment below. Thank you for watching.